Hello, and good morning to all joining us via Zoom and our Facebook live stream. Welcome to the Center for Enlightenment's exploration of the spiritual teachings, Jewels from Jane Elizabeth. Each Sunday will be a free-flowing adventure with teachings by Jane Elizabeth Hart, facilitated by certified Center for Enlightenment teachers. We'll be working from the self-study lesson found on our website at cfenlightenment.org. Today, we begin the next self-study lesson titled Meditation. Our topic is, what is meditation? Greg Rett will be the facilitator for this lesson. He is a certified teacher for the Center for Enlightenment and longtime student of Jane Hart, studying with her for over 30 years. Jane is the author of Spiritual Power Tools, Support for Your Soul, master teacher and founder of the Center for Enlightenment. Today's course will be live streamed via Facebook. A recording will be sent out with the weekly reflections so you can access it anytime. For those new to this format, your chat icon is located at the bottom of your screen. Just click to view. If you have any technical questions, please reach out to the host or co-host via the chat room. In addition to the Sunday courses, there will be a question and answer discussion on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. A link for these sessions will also be posted in the chat room. If you're in need of prayer support, please contact us at cfenlightenment.org or just type centerforenlightenment.com. We are active on Facebook and Twitter. Come check us out and share your thoughts and experiences. It would also be a great support to like the postings that resonate with you. We also invite you to visit our website at cfenlightenment.org. There you will find additional self-study lessons, talks, videos, where you can search for specific topics to support your expansion in consciousness. So let's just take a deep breath, sit back, as we move into the silence and begin today's journey with the prescription for spiritual alignment.
Welcome. And as we begin this exploration of meditation, let's take a moment to center ourselves in the truth of our being. So as you close your eyes, take these thoughts as your words from within. We are aligned with the presence of God within. We are protected by God's love, wisdom, knowledge, and grace. The God consciousness within helps us discover more about who we are. Thank you, God, for the gift of spiritual intuition. Thank you, God, for aligning our conscious, subconscious, and superconscious minds. We take a deep breath. We move into this moment, this awareness, the truth of our being. Amen. Well, welcome. We're going to talk about meditation today. And in the video, we're going to see at the very end, Jane says that the meditation is the single most important thing that we can do on the spiritual path. My journey with meditation started when I was 13 years old and I was in a Sunday school class and I was the only student. And the teacher was a very advanced soul and she decided to teach me how to meditate. And she'd lead me in times of silence, and sometimes she'd ask me to draw a picture of what I experienced or talk to her about any sensations I had. It was pretty advanced stuff. And then a couple of years later, I was put in charge of the meditation guides for our youth group, and was supposed to write them down and send them out. And they just didn't have any life or energy to them. And then I realized, I think I was 14 at the time, if I want to write a meditation guide, I need to meditate. So I went out into the woods and I would take a book of my dad's, spiritual book, and just sit and ponder on a sentence or maybe a paragraph that I read and move into the feeling of it without thinking about it too much. I just knew intuitively to do that. And I was supported by the beauty of nature around me. I found out later that that very spot was sacred to the Ohlone Indians who had inhabited my area, but I didn't know that. but there was a vibration and an energy in that place. And I found it very easy to write whatever I needed to write because it was coming from experience. You see, meditation is your opportunity to take all these spiritual teachings that you believe in, perhaps, or they appeal to you, they inspire you, they lift you up, and to experience them from within. And it isn't that you're looking for earth-shattering experiences or, the parting of the Red Sea and Cecil B. DeMille's film, or some, light coming down from above, although people do have these experiences. Instead, what the experience of meditation is about is an opening of your connection with your soul. In its simplest definition, meditation is simply quieting your mind and stilling your body sensations. Stilling your body, quieting the mind, withdrawing your energy from all of those outside senses where, we're always reaching out there. We're looking for our answers out there. We live out there, but there is no out there. Ultimately, out there is a projection of consciousness. And without getting too deep into it, the truth is that the truth of our being is in here. The truth of your being is found in meditation. And once you withdraw your attention from that outer world that seems to be so active around you, you can focus on the real world, the inner world. What this process leads you to is a new experience of your being, a new state of being. What meditation does is it provides a bypass for your mind, and it moves you into a state of internal silence, a solitude that is anything but lonely, because it's your connection with the all that is. Rather than being made lonely by this solitude, it's an affirmation of your connection with all the souls in the universe, with your higher self, and with God, the infinite intelligence that created and supports this whole universe. Well, sometimes people have asked me, what's the point of meditating? I mean, what am I going to get out of it? And what I usually say is that meditation is the most important step you can take on your spiritual journey. If you're a person who'd be attracted to a video like this, you're at a certain point in advancement where you are ready to change your consciousness. And these changes in consciousness don't come from outside. They come from within. Even if something like a teaching or an experience that you have in the outer world seems to trigger that experience within, it is still an inner response to that outer stimulus. Your meditation time is your best way each day to connect with your soul. And what it does, it opens up your pipeline to your intuition, your intuitive self, your higher self. It also has very practical uses. It releases your fears and calms your mind so that you function better each day. They've done many studies where they found that people who meditate can do much, much better on cognitive tests, creative tests. All of these studies have been done for decades now, since meditation came into vogue in the 1960s and 70s. And they found that meditation has definite measurable effects on your third dimensional life. But we know that that's not the important thing about meditation. The third dimensional life is just fine because we've got to navigate our way through it. But the fourth dimensional life, this life of the soul, the life of the infinite self, that higher self, that's what we're really looking for in our experience in meditation. And that is the true work of meditation. Every soul has a different journey to God consciousness. We're all different. We come from different backgrounds, going back eons of time. And so your meditation experience will be unique to you. I will speak to you about meditation in general, but you will take these teachings and apply them in a way that works best for you because you have your own journey into God consciousness. One thing I found very interesting when I started studying with Jane Hart, which was in the 1990s, early 1990s, I got to know her, and I found she emphasized meditation, and I waited to see what her method of meditation was, what her technique was. Because, there's lots of techniques of meditation that are out there, and we'll talk about some of them. Techniques are important because when you're sitting down to meditate, well, there is some kind of practice involved. But I kept waiting, and she didn't have a technique. She would lead us in meditation. And by the way, I'm going to say this more than once. She has a wonderful meditation that's recorded. It's on the website. Go to the website, look at the bar on the top, the bar that it says meditation Q&A, and then click on it, and then go to the very bottom, scroll down, and she has a recorded meditation for about a half an hour. And it has about 20 minutes of silence in it. It's very powerful, and it's a wonderful way for you to practice meditation. But even in that, she doesn't tell you how to meditate. And there are many methods. We'll talk about some of them because they could be useful to you depending on your own makeup, your own experience as a soul. But this one is one that you might want to use as a default setting. And I have friends who just use this one every day. And by the way, you don't have to use any outer aid. The meditation is an inner experience, but for many of us, it's helpful to either use a technique or be supported by a recording. The moment that you made a decision that you wanted to know God or to awaken spiritually, you sent a signal out into the universe. You sent a signal to your own higher self. And what happened was that you set up that which drew to you all that you needed to move you forward on your journey. And meditation is the strengthening of that connection. When you sit down and you meditate, even if it doesn't seem like a good meditation at all, good by your judgments, you still strengthen that connection that is set up between your day-to-day mind and that higher self, the eternal mind, that mind of your soul. And even if you aren't aware of it, even if you think your meditation is failing, and believe me, we all have those judgments, you are still strengthening your connection with your God consciousness. I've heard Jane teach more than once that when you think your meditation is bad and cluttered and whatever, she said, actually, there's a tremendous good work being done, and don't judge it. Perhaps you're cleansing out something in your subconscious, but I don't even want to go there. And she said other times when you think you're having a good meditation, maybe not so much. It isn't for you to judge. But one thing you can know is that meditation opens up the doors to understanding. You have a new experience of your life, and you begin to notice it bleeds through, your meditation bleeds through into your everyday life, giving it new meaning. One thing I noticed that regardless of what my evaluation of my meditation was, whether I thought it was a good meditation or a bad meditation, if I didn't take the time to meditate, the quality of the rest of my time that day was affected. It just, I felt like I had to, I'm going to just say it. This is going to sound stupid, but sandpaper in my aura. I felt like I had this kind of a scratchy feeling in my energy field. And that's just my metaphor for the feeling that I hadn't had the time or taken the time to quiet my mind, to still my body, and to open up to that spiritual influx that flushes out all impurities within your being. What I found was that I began to see my world with a new perspective, a higher perspective. And you'll find, and you probably already have experienced with meditation, that you have a new understanding of your everyday life. Meditation is eminently practical. It's a very practical practice because it actually helps you to access everyday solutions to everyday problems. So it helps you, of course, number one, spiritually, to connect with your higher self, your soul. but it also gives you the wherewithal to navigate your everyday life in a much more effective way. When somebody asked Jane, and I remember hearing her in a class, they asked, well, what's the beginning stage of meditation? What should I expect? She said, the first thing you expect is for your mind to go crazy. The first thing, which shocked me, but she was right, because when I first started meditating, the first thing I noticed was that my mind just jumped up and started doing things, turning somersaults. And the first thing that a typical person who tries to meditate experiences is, my mind is going too fast. This isn't working. I can't do it. But it actually is meditation working in you, through you, and on you. Meditation actually activates and gives you the ability to see how busy your intellect, your mind is. You begin to realize that your mind is racing constantly, but you just haven't been aware of it. You begin to notice that your mind is busy. And as long as your mind is busy, it's like tuning in a radio and there's static or interference somehow. And you can't quite hear. Have you ever been driving and you can't quite make out what's going on because of interference in the radio waves? Well, your mind is like that interference. It's constantly chattering and moving. And the station that's broadcasting, which is your intuitive self, you can't quite discern what's going on. You can't receive it. And the answer here is to take charge of your mind, to take charge of your thoughts. And you do that by realizing that you have the same thoughts over and over again. You realize, I found out when I first began to meditate that I had the same thoughts over and over and over again, that my mind was boring. And I was aware that I wasn't really using my mind to solve the problems that I was obsessing about. I love the word ruminating because that's what I find my intellect likes to do. Ruminate. And I looked up the word ruminate, and it has to do with how a cow digests its cud. And without getting too gross, the cow chews over and over and over and over again in its multi-stage digestive process. It it ruminates. It continues to chew the same old stuff. And I love that. It is an unpleasant image, but it is a very apt one, because I found my mind, instead of just going through experiences, processing them and letting them go, would think about the past and ruminate on the past, and then think about the future and ruminate on the future, and even obsess about what's going on in my life right now. And the answer that meditation provides is it provides a means to get past that habitual chatter in the mind. What I found out was I wasn't using my mind to solve my problems like I thought, that my mind was just going in circles. It was keeping me busy. It was keeping me distracted. And so when I recognized that my mind was being used in this limited manner, I valued my times of meditation so much more, because it actually provided not only some rest for the mind, but an opening through which the higher mind, the intuitive mind, can operate. Now, just to review, we've talked before about how there are two levels to your so-called mind. There's the lower mind, which is the intellect, which is that mind that analyzes everything and ends up being stuck in circles. But there's also a higher mind, the mind of oneness, the fourth dimensional mind. If your intellect is the third dimensional mind, your intuition is your fourth dimensional mind, and that is what you access in your time of meditation. And so what happens is that you no longer stay stuck in those limited avenues of thought where your ideas keep repeating themselves over and over again, and you're dwelling on these tiresome topics and you're ruminating, but instead you move past them. The time of meditation is when you truly digest and let go of that which is stuck in your intellect. Well, now there's the practical matter of, how do you meditate? What are some of the steps and stages to meditation in your practice? Well, there are many different ways. And as I shared, Jane doesn't teach a particular way of meditating, but encourages people to use the techniques that are out there if they call to you. Certainly, there's a mantra meditation where you repeat a word or a phrase over and over again. There are meditations that are visualizations. There are a lot of meditations online, and I've had Jane recommend to me a couple of them that are online. You can find these meditations that can support you. You can also, and I think at the end of our time, we're going to have a brief experience of meditation in which we're going to use our body sensations and the observer self observing our breath, our heartbeat, our sensations of the air upon our skin, noticing with our inner senses what is going on in our outer body. And it sounds kind of counterintuitive that you're using your body to let go of your body, but it works very, very well. And that's a very helpful method. There's insight meditation and mindfulness meditation, and every kind of meditation you can imagine. They all have a value. And the analogy I use for this on why there's so many kinds of meditation and why we don't say you should do one particular kind, although it's best to have a practice that you get into a rhythm with. But the reason why Jane is not dogmatic about this is that meditation is, in this analogy, much like exercise. And if your doctor says, oh man, you need to exercise, it's time for you to get into exercise routine. There are different forms of exercise. And one person lies on the floor and stretches and does yoga, which is completely the opposite, it seems, of the other person who is running for miles at a time. And another person does weightlifting, which is so different than Qigong or the different Eastern modalities of exercise. There's so many different ways to exercise. There's walking and swimming and aerobics and although I'm sure there are people who are dogmatic about it, think that their form of exercise is the best, the truth is that not every form of exercise is suited to every person, and they have slightly different effects on you. But the one thing they have in common is they give you a healthier body. And every form of meditation that's out there will give you a healthier consciousness, a healthier awareness of your beingness. And it'll do so through different means. And so the important thing is to experience. You might try out different forms of meditation, but ultimately experience the one that works for you, and then move with it, and then see. Perhaps you might try more than one, but see what really works best for you. When I first started and I went out into the woods, I did something called passage meditation, which is simply taking a word, a sentence or so, and then moving with it in a feeling nature, not thinking about it, but just moving with the words mean and how it makes me feel, until my mind would wander and I'd take the next sentence. And people do this with prayers that they perhaps meditated or memorized when they were in their youth, the 23rd Psalm or the Lord's Prayer, or there are Eastern prayers. There are phrases, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The Serenity Prayer can help you. There's also the prayer of St. Francis, God make me an instrument of your peace, and you can memorize that. Or you can start with something that you're reading and then move into a time where it becomes a part of you and you know it by heart. And you don't just go through it quickly. You take one line at a time and then just still your mind and feel what you just experienced in those words until your mind wanders. And then you take the next line. Because the truth is, your mind will wander. Meditation is a practice that includes your wandering mind. And instead of resisting it and judging yourself as wrong, recognizing that when your mind wanders, the actual act of bringing yourself back to your meditation point of focus is the power generator of your meditation. Somebody once called it the bring back muscle. You bring your consciousness back. And it just like when you're lifting weights, the actual resistance that you experience builds the muscle. And the resistance that your mind experiences when you bring your attention back builds an energy. I've noticed it generates an energy that I then carry with me through the day. And although I have times of meditation that are very calm and peaceful and they seem to flow in a very orderly way, there are other times that I really have to bring my attention back, and I can really feel that bring back muscle building. But either way, the benefits spill out into my day. And what I notice is that if I don't meditate, when I first started, if I missed a day or two of meditation, it made a substantial difference in my experience of that day. And so some of these tools, you can try them out. You can take a mantra. There are Eastern mantras, but there's also words like love or God or devotional figures such as Jesus or peace. Whatever you want to use, that's helpful. There are visualizations of a still lake with no ripple, and you notice the reflection. We may have a chance to try that out. So these are all the different ways that you can meditate. And often background music that's designed for meditation can be very helpful. I find Liquid Mind is a very good one. And there are other ones that are out there. Some of the music of Stephen Halperin can help, but there are many other ones that you can use, or just listening to the chanting of Om. And then the question comes up, well, how long should I meditate for? And I've had people give up because they tried to meditate for too long. You know, if your doctor told you that you needed to exercise, and then you went down to the gym and tried to lift weights for an hour after not having exercised for a long time, what would happen to you? Well, you get pretty sore and it wouldn't work out too well. The same thing is true for meditation. Just start where you are. First time I tried to lift weights back when I was a teenager, I started with 30 pounds. And believe me, that's all I could handle. You can build up more and more time, but you start off with 5 minutes, maybe 10, and just experience that time. The important thing, and the most important thing, is your consistency. In meditation, consistency is the key. In meditation, your consistent practice matters a lot more than the length of your practice. So 5 or 10 minutes every day at the same basic time of day or portion of the day, done every day of the week, is far more beneficial than saving it up for Saturday when you say, oh, I got a day off and I'll take an hour. Because frankly, you haven't built up the consciousness to be able to maintain that. And the truth is that everybody I know who sees meditation as a 1 day a week practice gets out of the habit of it. They get out of the rhythm of it. Meditation is more than a practice. It's a rhythm, and it's a life, and it's an energy, and it's a consciousness and a vibration, and you build it step by step. So 5 minutes a day is good to start, then 10, then 15. And really, if you have a problem getting centered, that's not that important. It's taking the time and actually doing it. I like to say that when you get your seat in the chair, your heart and your mind will follow. It's more important that you actually take the time, because the commitment that you make is built upon as a foundation. It's strengthened from within. Now, how often should you meditate? Usually when you're starting out, it's best to meditate once a day, maybe twice a day. It's natural to do so if you're a morning person in the morning. Some people do well before they go to bed. Some people who find it hard to stay awake might find it easier to do it when they first wake up. Even if you do it on your lunch break, it's just important to have a rhythm to it. So pick a time and stick with that time and make sure that you do it every day. One thing you can do is also support your meditation by joining a, a group meditation or a meditation that's online that's been recorded on a YouTube. And having a regular time and place and practice creates a meditative mood, a vibration where it just naturally opens you up to being receptive. Now, Jane has stressed that it's important, without being rigid about it, to have a general meditation time that works best for you, because this is an expression of the commitment that you make to your higher self, to God and your soul. And it doesn't matter so much how long you do it or when you do it, but pick a time and make meditation a priority for you. Having that specific time sets up the vibration and the rhythm that you need that makes it easier to go within. Right now, perhaps you've experienced meditation on a sporadic basis and you can see the value of it, but you haven't really dedicated yourself to an everyday practice. I invite you to take this next step of making a daily commitment at a specific, not rigidly held, but a general time of meditation. I found for years, even during a period of time when I wasn't meditating, at least I didn't think I was meditating, but I really was, that I would be awakened in the middle of the night for 2 hours every night. And I thought I had a problem with insomnia, but I didn't have a problem with insomnia because after several years of this, I recognized and witnessed, using my observer self, that I used that time to go within naturally. And so I realized that I was being awakened by my higher self to do my spiritual work in the middle of the night. And I didn't miss the lost sleep because I was in such a quiet state that I was being refreshed. And so I made that my dedicated time of meditation, and then it really took off. Now, there are many practices of sitting or lying down or having a certain posture. And some people are very rigid about these things, but Jane is not. Jane says, whatever works best for you, you do that. So if you don't fall asleep, lie down. I've led group meditations where the minute somebody lies down, they start snoring. So it's somebody's uncomfortable job to remind them to maybe sit up. So perhaps for you, you need to sit up for meditation. For me, I just sit comfortably with my back supported. I don't have a rigid attitude towards my posture, but I don't slouch. Other people teach that perhaps you need to sit this way or that way or cross-legged or whatever, but it's really not what's important. What's important is that you're comfortable and that your body is at rest, still at peace, and not a distraction to you. So the rhythm of this experience of meditation can also be experienced by people who are doing yoga or having music or art or exercising through walking or running. People have meditative experiences there as well. And if that is your practice and you really focus on it, that can benefit you as well. So again, it's not that important to use any particular rituals when you meditate, although you may choose to start your meditation off. Many people I know, and I used to do this, would start off with a specific prayer at the beginning of my meditation, and it would get me into that energy and vibration that I then would open up my receptivity and then quiet my mind. You may pay attention to your breathing. You may repeat a word, as I said, a mantra, whatever feels right for you, but keep it simple and make it your practice in a rhythmic way every day and build that consciousness. To this end, Jane talks about creating something called a meditation station. And I'm actually sitting in my meditation station. Right here is where I go to meditate. And I have a wonderful cushion that's comfortable and a back cushion. And I have pictures of my devotional figures. I have that support that's right here for me. And anytime I sit here in this location, I know I'm doing spiritual work, whether it's meditating or whether it's participating in teaching. And it's almost like I just sit down and the vibration, the energy, the consciousness just takes over. And it's so nurturing and it's so supportive to have a meditation station that is dedicated to one thing and one thing only. And for you, it may be impossible. You might be in a very crowded environment with lots of kids or lots of things going on, or a small environment. But to the extent that you can, have a place that at least is used for your times of meditation. This is a funny story, but I used to read these wonderful books by a woman named Eileen Caddy, who founded the Findhorn Foundation. And she would get the spiritual inspiration and she would write these books. Well, I found out later that she and her husband lived in a tiny travel trailer. And the only place where she could get away to meditate and write her books was in the pay toilets of the trailer place that they stayed in, the vacation place. So it doesn't matter so much where you go, but that you have a place that you go that is nurturing to your soul. Well, in a few moments, we're going to watch a video. And in it, Jane Hart talks about the value of meditation being how it speeds up the evolution of your soul. Meditation quickens and awakens that evolving soul within you. Meditation is how you open up to and awaken to your awareness of that inner self, that self that has been lying perhaps dormant lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And in this lifetime, you finally are at that point where you are taking the time to consciously move forward on this journey. Through meditation, you find your access to your inner self. And the truth is that each day we are out here in the outer world, our focus is like this all the time. And when we turn that outer focus inward, when we get quiet, when we go within, we find that we connect with our soul. And your soul is your higher self. And she says meditation is never boring. You might think you're feeling bored, but if you stay with it, you will always have an adventure because it's never the same. Because your soul is who you are. Your soul has been with you on your journey through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, but now you're consciously willing to connect with that part of you that has been pushing you and driving you from within without your conscious awareness. And now it's coming forth, that soul, into your consciousness so that you can make this inner connection that will support you. And as you go within, you find you have a new purpose and a new meaning to your life. And you also find you start to get answers. Your intuition starts to become stronger. And it's almost like you're sharpening that intuition and that you can use it and rely on it more and more. Meditation is a process. And Jane says that, and I'm going to quote her here, this process will move you into a new state of being. This process of meditation will move you into a new state of being. And what is that new state of being? Well, you will discover it, and it will no longer be something that you read about in a book or go to a lecture to hear. It's something that has always been there. Your soul has been waiting for you. Your soul has always been here. Even as we're in this time right now, you can feel yourself drawn into this inner journey, into this process of quieting your mind. Just be quiet. Even as I speak, let your inner experience be spacious and calm. This is moving into what we call getting centered. And this center is your heart. It is that ground of being within you that is opening you to your soul awareness. And people ask, well, what do I do when I have a thought? Jane uses the analogy of just pushing the stop button on the recording. Just push it before it can play out, before it can go too far. Just say stop or shh. Push that stop button before it starts planning the day or ruminating about the past or the future or thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner. And you'll find that you'll have your own way of doing this, your own experience of meditation. But the important thing, the crucial thing that we'll take with us this week is that it's most important to do this every day, even if it's for 5 minutes. Doing this every day with consistency will build up an energy and a vibration that will come forth to meet you every time you sit down. Again, I want to invite you to use the meditation that's on the website. Just go to centerforenlightenment.com or cfenlightenment.org, and then look on the taskbar at the top, meditation Q&A, click on that, and then scroll to the bottom, and there's a recording that you can use every day for a half an hour. It's a very powerful meditation, lasts maybe 20 minutes of silence, and you really can experience this. And if your mind wanders, so what? It's going to wander. Use your bring back muscle and bring yourself into this awareness. So let's listen to Jane as she reminds us of the purpose of meditation and how important it is on our spiritual journey.
Hi, I'm back again to talk to you about the evolution of your soul. And we are evolving. And thanks for joining me. We're going to talk about an important part of the evolution of your soul. And that is the part that the way you are going to connect with your inner self is through meditation. And I can't talk about meditation enough because it is such an important part about finding your inner self. We are so busy every day doing so many things, but if we will take time each and every day to still our minds and be quiet and go within, this is a very, very important part about eventually connecting with your soul, with your inner self. The thing that I find is so interesting about the adventure of meditation, and it is an adventure because it supports your soul in so many ways. Your soul has been with you forever on eons and eons of time, and as you connect with that part of yourself that knows the truth of you, and it's called your inner connection. Your inner connection is the part that's going to support you from this point on. If you can stop and go within and find the answers to your everyday problems, to your soul problems, you're going to find out slowly but surely, you're going to be able to move to a new dimension of being. And that is why meditation is that avenue. Where do you meditate? Any place you want to. How do you meditate? Any way you want to. You can lay on the floor, you can sit in a chair, you can go for a walk, you can go skiing. Whatever will calm your mind. And if your mind is going crazy, the best way to work with that is simply to tell yourself, shh, be quiet, and get centered. Shh, be quiet, get centered. That helped me the most. And also another little technique I've used is to pretend like my mind is a tape recorder, and when my thoughts start going through my mind, zippity-doo-dah, through my mind, what I do is simply say, shh, turn off my tape recorder. If you don't take that thought to its fulfillment, and you stop it before it goes too far, you can stop the thought before it takes you into figuring out what you're going to have for dinner tomorrow or what you're going to do at work this afternoon. However that's going to work for you. And I think you're going to find your own way. At least everybody does. So I really support you in finding a place in your house or in your office, or maybe it's sitting out on your patio or out on the beach, where you go every single day and just be still. Now the importance of that is that, excuse me just a minute. The importance of that is that there's an energy that happens when we are sitting in the same place and we start to generate a vibration. So when you come into that chair, you automatically get into the vibration. So are you ready to get in the vibration with me? If you are, come meditate with me.
And so we have a powerful reminder that meditation is the art of stilling your body and quieting your mind. And that meditation is the most important step you can take in moving your consciousness into its new dimension of being, which she talked about. And that new dimension, that fourth dimension, the higher self, the soul, it's waiting. It's already there. It's awaiting your time and your practice of meditation. And so I'm going to lead us in a meditation in a moment, but I want to do that as the very last thing. So I want to invite you to check your chat room. We've got a link to the Thursday night question and answer group, which happens at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a way for us to support each other and to talk about our spiritual journey. And we'll be talking about this lesson this Thursday night at 7 Eastern. And the link's also found on the website. And also, you can donate and support the Center for Enlightenment, which is also found on the website or in your chat room, the link to make the donations so that we can continue to do this work of supporting humanity spiritually. But right now, let's just take a moment so that we can just move into this meditation, and perhaps we'll stay in it a little bit longer than this time. But just begin by noticing your breathing. We're going to use our body sensations as a way to let go of them. So without controlling or obsessing, we just look at our breathing and notice the gentle, involuntary movement of the breath moving in and out. We just become aware of how calm and peaceful the natural breath truly is. And as we get quieter, we can notice the evidence of our heart beating. Perhaps we can feel it beating in our chest. or the pulse in our extremities. But we're aware of the natural rhythmic heart, the center of our physical body. Reflecting our spiritual heart, the center of our spiritual being. And when our mind wanders, we bring it back to our breath. Or our heart beating. And we notice behind the closed lids of our eyes that there's light. That is here in whatever room we're in, even if it's with the lights turned out, there's still an awareness of something. And we notice this as well. And we feel the gentle caress of the air upon the skin, our faces, our hands, any exposed skin. Without thought, without thinking about it, when our mind wanders, we bring it back to our breath, our heart, what we see and what we feel. As we move in the silence. And we may continue to bring our awareness back to our breath and our heart, the awareness of light, sensation. Or we can come back to the presence of this room and With gratitude, move with this quietness into our day. With gratitude, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm just going to leave you with this. Bye for now.